Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite warlock here, practicing necromancer. Tonight, I want to kind of discuss something that's kind of befell my heart, if you will. Tonight, I was in heavy meditation. I had started taking my practices in a whole new level. For an example, one of the biggest lessons I learned from a book called Deliberate Discomfort was to really reflect upon who you are and where you're trying to go. What are you trying to become? Who you are when you're not thinking of anything. And it's interesting because I started applying some very intensive meditation rituals, and I started calling forth certain entities because of what they represent and what they can do, especially through guidance and wisdom. In my youth, and I think all of us can relate to this, is in our youth, we are haughty. We don't listen to our elders. We don't really stop to think about consequences to actions. So when you are pursuing your endeavors, going from guru to guru, religion to religion, spirit to spirit, do you stop to wonder what you're giving up? Do you stop to wonder what you've sacrificed? Was it worth it? What did you achieve from it? Probably not. Most likely, you reacted out of impulse because it's what you normally would do when you were in your youth. It was the rebellious age, if you will. But when you get older, say late 20s, early 30s, then you start getting serious about your career. You start defining who you are and where you're going. What kind of mage or sage are you trying to become? What kind of practitioner? Who do you who are you representing? What do you want to represent? I look at social media today and so many people are stuck in the trenches following this whole thing with Biden and Trump, this madhouse in Texas where now they're doing baptisms for the border. and it's and I look back and it's like I look at that and it's like, what a joke. That's all that is. It's showbiz. It's just look at me, fanatics. Let's join in. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because everybody else is doing it. And yet, when I go to, say, for an example, the dog park with my dog, Opal, people avoid us like the plague. Even when we walk down the street, I have my hood up, you know, and I'm just keeping to myself. People avoid us. I go to the dog park and it's like everybody just gets up and leaves. Like there's some kind of big secret there. It's like we're the plague, we're the demonic, you know, version of say, for example, Ozzy Osbourne or The Undertaker. But in reality, people just don't want to be around you. You never really stop to wonder why. But when you look at that type of stuff, does it really matter what people think of you? Because what matters is what you think of yourself. The goals that you are putting in front of yourself to achieve, taking those steps to achieve those goals, learning about your path, your religion. You're not taking a demon's name and saying, "Hey, I'm a demonic entity." No, you're not Astaroth. You're not Beelzebub. You're not fucking Alistar, the executioner. You're just a mundane freak trying to be something that you're not. You know, that's all that is it's playing a part. You're playing the bad guy role, the reverse Christian. Very few step on the path and actually want to evolve. They want to become more. Think of it like this: what does it mean to ascend? What does it mean to, say, for an example, be a demon? What does it mean, in your opinion, what a demon is? Do you even know what a demonic entity is? Where that root origin, that etymology even comes from? And when you apply things to your practice, hey, Black Tower, welcome, brother. When you look at your practices, you look at the beings that you're working with, that you petition for their wisdom, their guidance. I mean, when you think of angels, for an example, they're warriors. Their only job is to wage war. I Did you forget in the Old Testament you got Michael slaughtering and butchering an entire army in their sleep? How about the successor to Moses, who marched his army across the great distance, up a mountain and down a mountain, so that he could attack the enemy with the sun behind him? So the enemy was completely blinded. How about Daniel and his buddies? Three went into a furnace, but yet when they opened the doors, there were four. Think about that for just a moment. What does that mean to be an angel? What is an angel but a warrior, a messenger from a being that really doesn't give two shits about you if you live or die? But yet, when you actually get into the etymology of what a demon is, what a demonic entity is, they are guardians, they are protectors, they are teachers, they're patrons and patronesses. So you are not them, and they are not you. But it leaves that question: what does it mean to evolve into a demon? What does it mean to evolve into, say, for an example, going from the mundane into becoming a necromancer? Taking that step in those roles through your education, your studies, your practices over great lengths and becoming a lick. And after months, years, you suddenly find yourself an archlick. The very definition of an archlick is somebody who is honorable both in life and death. has the supernatural abilities to control the dead, to bring spirits and corpses back to life, and so forth. I mean, look at Kakashi out of Slavic traditions. He removed his soul to become an immortal. He went to great lengths to become the deathless one. Look at Isis in Egyptian mythology. Look at the distance that she went to not only find the remains of body parts of her beloved Osiris, but she even went to work for Anubis and learned the art of necromancy from him and became associated with witchcraft, necromancy, and death. She brought him back to life. Look at the Petro spirits, the second lesser remnants of the Loa families. Number one is the Rada family. This is what most people look at as, say, for an example, the Orisha or the Angelics, the rulers, if you will, the first class. But yet the Petro is more demonic. They're more haughty, if you will. They're more fire and brimstone. You see, a white light practitioner would not utilize the Orisha for curses and hexes, black magic, sorcery, because that would defile them, their very nature. Just like you wouldn't go to the Rada spirits to curse somebody. You wouldn't want to go to the underworld and learn to become a demon and actually study the underworld unless you're working with the Petro spirits, the Loa family, such as Keflu, for an example. Keflu is basically the, how should I say this, the Papa Legba of the Petro. And then you have Simbi, the serpent. Each one of this faction of Loa can teach you on different levels of the underworld. But it doesn't give you that understanding of what does it mean to ascend. It doesn't give you that understanding of what are you evolving into through your practices, through your goals. Tonight I was in deep meditation. And as most of you know, the last year I have been on a spiritual journey. I look back at my past. I've looked at my friends, everybody I grew up with that has died. 2 covens that I was a part of, most of which perished. The remnants of it just went our own ways. Friends turned into enemies. And yet, you're still learning, you're still growing, you're still hitting those books, you're still experimenting in the temple. You're redefining your own practices. This is growth. This is maturity. This is the sign of maturity, because when you take the time to reflect, many philosophers have said that you need to look inwards, meaning yourself, before you can deal with the world. Look at it this way. Sun Tzu once said, "To know oneself is to know thy enemy, and to know thy enemy is to know thyself." Friedrich Nietzsche said there's no greater enemy than yourself. Bruce Lee said water's the softest stuff on earth, but yet it can fit into any container. The glass is half full until you fill it. Now, how do you fill that? How do you fill that cup? You must first dump it out. Only then can you begin to fill it. It's ironic that the Stoics were so wise in that area. Even when you get into the art of death, or such as necromancy, how about getting into demonolatry and learning about what each spirit and what any one of these demons and the devils, archdevils, no matter what rank they're at, knight, prince, duke, grand duke, king, can't speak tonight, Marquis, it does not matter. Their title, they've earned that rank. Did you ever stop to wonder what they went through to get to where they're at? What they've sacrificed? What they've given up? No, you probably haven't. I look at my life and just seeing what I've given up, what I've lost because of my pursuit in the arcane, through witchcraft and sorcery, spiritualism. I don't regret anything I've done in my life. I really don't. Does that make me a demon? Does that make me evil? No. It just means that I'm comfortable with the fact that I've made my choices and I've made my bed. Therefore, I lie in my bed. Just like you have to do the same for your choices. But when you look at deliberate discomfort, what does that actually mean? A wise elder once said, only through trials and tribulation will you truly grow. That's no joke. I look at the last year and I look at, just for example, my spirituality. I become much closer to my patron and patroness. This year I started a whole new system, a whole new tower, if you will. And I can tell you this, just from what I've been doing the last week, there's been a little bit of benefits, a little bit of going forward. Not much, but it's there. I've noticed it as a third party. I've seen the images in my mind, even though I'm working on posture, I'm working on meditation. I'm applying that deliberate discomfort because of the fact that when I call upon these entities, it is more about humbleism and petitioning them in the arena of, hey, I want to shed the weaknesses that I have so that I can be better. I want to become better than I was yesterday, better than I am today, better than I will be tomorrow. I'm in no hurry. It is a journey, it is more of a marathon. The fact that most people just want to do it to get through it, do they ever stop to wonder what it would be like to even take a month or two, maybe 3 months, 9 months with a single entity, a spirit? Probably not. In fact, I know very few who have actually done that. Behemoth X, for one. But here's the key, this is the key detail. Working with a single entity doesn't make you lesser or greater. It means that you're willing to put the time in, you're willing to put the effort into getting to know them, to understand their hierarchy, if you will, what they're about. You're learning about what they can do for you and what they can teach you. More so when you look at what they represent, you're able to say, hey, you know, take me as thy apprentice. Show me the path. I want to know the true apotheosis, not what I think it is or what I believe it is. I want to know the true apotheosis, the true hidden knowledge. Help me to unlock that. Help me to guide myself through that transfiguration, that transmortification of the body and the spirit, so that I can become better and work my way to being whatever that finished outcome should be or could be. The thing about the future is it's never set. I mean, I get on like TikTok or I get on YouTube, and you got all these hypocrites just pointing fingers, religious wars, stupid, pathetic child games. It's all that is. It's childish behavior. When are you going to take your destiny into your own hands and step up to the plate? Take that plunge and begin your own journey for you. Anything outside of that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's invading what country. It doesn't matter who's, you know, threatening whom. What matters is your growth because it is about your evolution. It is about you, not somebody else. But when you begin that journey, make sure to take note. What am I giving up? Is it going to be worth it? Am I able to continue even if it means being solitary, being a solitary practitioner? The answer is yes, I can do that. Because I look back at my past, I've been alone most of my life. That fear of that I used to have of not having a family, not having a progeny for a after I'm gone. Well, guess what? I had a better half. She chose to cheat on me and leave. My son is is my progeny. But you know what? I'm still in his life and he's still in mine. Do I miss being with somebody? Yeah. Do I need somebody in my life? No. That fear is no longer there because you've taken that time to view those inner fears, those inner demons. When you look at your practices, what's the most somebody can say? You're doing it wrong? You're going to go to hell because you don't believe in Christ? What's the worst that they can do? Call you an archdemon, a devil, evil, vile, an antichrist? Hell, I've been called all those. And that's just by the followers of John Ramirez. So, what is there to fear on that aspect? Fear is just a limiter. It's something that limits you from doing what is necessary. So, right there, you've grown. Right there, you've grown and evolved into a better version of yourself because when they do that, you just look at them and go, eh, opinions vary. That's right. I just pulled a Patrick Stewart on you, or Patrick Swayze, rather. Roadhouse. Hell of a good movie. Actually, got the chance to watch that. But here it is. When it comes to your practices, What does it mean to grow? What does it mean to evolve, to ascend? What is it that you hope to achieve during your trials, through your experimentations? What are you wanting to happen? I don't know about you, but I've looked at my elders and I've already expressed three things to them of what my goals are. But it does not mean that I want to just step into those roles. I want to earn them. That's humbleism, but it can also be a little bit of pride, because you can take pride in what you do. You just don't want it to become counterproductive. You don't want to forget about past orthodoxies either. So when you are going along your journey from point A to point B, or maybe point C, if you've planned steps out, if you want to be a minister, how do you become a minister of occult practices? First of all, you have to know what you're talking about. So therefore, you've got to practice the religious and philosophical aspects of any given religion. You have to learn what it means to be an elder. You have to grow into that role. It's not something that is just handed to you. I had a couple of people look at me and say, I already see you as an elder. That was long before I even began looking into the ministry, after an apostolic minister, a evangelist at the time, literally suggested the ministry to me because he saw the potential of what I could be long before I did. It's taken me 13 years, over 13 years. I started this journey back in '09, '10 area. Oh, 2011 became an archdeacon. 2013, a priest. And a little over a year ago, an archbishop. Sure, I wasn't going for that role, but I just wanted to evolve into a bishop. I even tested for it. But you know what? The teachers saw me as superior, knowledge wise, wisdom wise. So they gave me the title Archbishop. Do I want to run my own church? No. I got no interest in that. For me, I'm a career student. I'm a student of the arts, and I always will be. I will never stop learning. I will never stop growing. But when you think about the end game or the end goal, I believe it was a brother, Joseph. And I did a interview once, and he asked me what the end game was, what the end objective was, and that is to take your place and collect the reward, if you will, from your life's endeavors. Back then, I didn't really focus on what that might be. But after this meditation tonight, my sights and my aims are on those objectives and a lot more. It is not a race, it is a marathon, as a wise man once said to me. It's not how fast you get there, it's about learning everything you can before you reach that finish line. And there are two ways to become a god. One is it's given to you through a pact, a deal, something quick, like giving powers to a child that doesn't fully grasp of what they're being given. And two, once you've completed this realm, this world, it's given to you through apotheosis in the next life. When you enter whatever kingdom that you're going to. Interesting how that works, right? So when you think about what a demon is, what you've lost, what you've sacrificed, what you've gained, I want you to think about all of this. I want you to think about really deep down when you approach a spirit, are you following the proper protocols? Are you being humble in your journey? Are you being humble in your petitioning? Do you make every effort to give them your best and be honest with them? Say, hey, I'm looking at myself here, kid. You know, I'm looking deep inside myself because I want to know what was it about this path that intrigued me so? What is it about this path that makes me who I am? What put me on that journey to begin with? And work with these spirits. Let them guide you and let them teach you. You don't go in like Ellie Mercury did and go, I'm killing all these gods. No, you're not killing all these gods. You're just an idiot. You're a child. And that's just one example that I can give. There's been several others over the years that I've seen. I've seen so many rise and fall. I've seen these youngins, one being a Wiccan, turning Baptist, seeing a Catholic practitioner turn Wiccan. Well, technically she turned pagan, but still. They're basically one and the same these days anyways. Pagan, Wiccanism, they're the same freaking thing these days. But it's there. I've seen all of this. So every step that you take, make sure to earn it. Make sure that you put your best foot forward and build upon assets, not liabilities. And I want to give you a couple of examples here. Number one, if you were building a skyscraper, would you build a foundation for a house? The answer is no, because that would be like a straw house from the Three Little Pigs. You would want to build a brick house with a strong foundation so that the elements will not make it tumble, come crashing down on itself. When you think of the big bad wolf, huffing and puffing, I want you to think about what an asset is. Learning to build a foundation, a strong foundation, is like planting a garden. You have to have strong roots for a stem to grow big and strong. And only through that stem can you have those leaves, those branches. Now think about your practice. Think about your journey. Is it not the same way? If you actually take the time to respect the gods, respect the demons, respect the Orisha, the Loa, the Jinn, even your ancestors and the spirits themselves, you'd be surprised what they're willing to show you and to guide you in. I'm not trying to come down on you and say, hey, you should discourage yourself from doing this shit. No, I just want you to be aware that everything has a cost, and every choice you make, you pay in blood. Nothing is for free. You have to give up something to achieve something. Even if you get into cartomancy, in the major arcana, there's a card called the Tower. The very representation of that card means that you have to destroy something to create. Has nature not shown you this? Think about it. For you to create, does a building not burn down? For land to be created, does not the earth regurgitate lava that creates more land? You have so many dead trees that doesn't a forest fire create a new forest from the ashes like the phoenix? Think about it. Think about where that level of respect and that balance comes from. Look at your journey. Look at what you're trying to accomplish. Are you putting each building block down, creating those assets? That means creating a bond with a teacher, understanding what it means to do an evocation or an invocation. How about setting up an altar based off your particular path or your religion? Going out and building upon your items, your tools, such as an athame and a chalice. How about the very herbs that you're going to be utilizing for elixirs? How about oleums, potions, powders? Do you even understand what it takes for invocations, through languages? What language works better? I mean, a lot of people would go with Latin, but what about Arabic? What about Mesopotamian or Slavic? Have you tried these different languages? I once spoke to a brother's sister. I blew my entire Spanish on one sentence, and I watched her eyes light up because she realized somebody actually spoke to her in her native language. And then she realized, oh, that's all he knew. But hey, I built that bond with her just by that one saying. I made her day. I knew this person, this woman from Indonesia. She used to do all these videos and do all these posts. I started speaking to her out of the blue in her native language. We carried on entire conversations. Yeah, a lot of it I had to get off Google. I had to say what I wanted to say and have it translated into Indonesian. But even though I did all that hard work of translating it and writing down the sentence so that I could type it out, even learn how to pronounce it, that took dedication, that took commitment. You see, that's called building an asset because you're learning, you're growing, you're building on what you already know. And this girl and I are still friends to this day. Still to this day. Now, think of you and the spirits that you work with. Do you want to use them for personal gain, or do you want to make that relationship and build upon it? Building upon blocks, foundation to the actual building. putting in those floorboards, putting in those walls, putting in that structure, putting in the wiring, the sheetrock, the roof, the shingles, the whole kit and caboodle. It takes dedication and commitment, complete fealty to study and practice. That takes sacrifice because you're sacrificing your time. You're sacrificing friends and family to achieve these goals. These are the things that you're leaving behind as you grow. And then sooner or later, you're going to realize I'm not a part of the world. I've literally left the world behind. Because when I talk to people or I listen to them talking, I have no clue what they're talking about. I have no interest in what they're talking about. You see, this is things that I've left behind. I go to work, I listen to my coworkers talking about stuff that I just look at them and that is, it doesn't interest me. I go out to my mother's house to visit my son when he's out there because I work early mornings and his mother works second shift. So she doesn't get out of work until almost 11 o'clock at night. So when he has school in the next morning, his grandparents have to take him to school. And then one of us will pick him up after, unless he wants them to pick him up. So the thing is that when I go out there, you got one that's always talking about movies. To me, that doesn't mean anything. The other one's constantly bringing up money or this or that, and it's like I'm so over this. This is like last season, last year or like 5 years ago. You know, I don't care about it. Move on. Let it go. You're like a dog with a fucking bone. You know what I'm saying? Just let it go. It means nothing. So when I'm talking to somebody, my mother's always trying to argue. I won't play that game. I just won't play that game, and it pisses her off. Just like talking to somebody who's trying to con me. That's on you. I'm not going to play your game. I have more important things to do with my time. Like furthering my education in voodoo, Haitian voodoo. One of the things that I've been looking at recently is what does it mean to be a servant? For some reason, I go right back to that lately. When I first got this book, that was the first thing I did a lot of studying on. What does it mean to be a servant? Well, now I reflect on that, and it's like, huh, what is an ambassador but a servant between the spirits and the mundane? You represent the spirits that you work with, but yet you represent something of divine being, if you will. And I'm going to use that term lightly because of this meaning. When I say divine purpose, it is somebody that represents a deity, that works for a deity in this realm. Therefore, you become a spiritual advisor to the mundane, to the people of society. And you will be loved and you will be hated and you will be feared because of that alone. And this you can actually see when you study the Shem priesthood. Even the Hashishin. Look at the Knights of Templar, how people respected them. Kings left them alone. princes left the Hashishin alone, and the Hashishin were made up of Samsara. Samsara is the Arabic word for assassin. They were highly trained military type people. They're highly trained in anatomy and assassination, but they were also monks, religious monks. You go back to the Shem priesthood and you'll see different variations of responsibilities, from bookkeeping to maintaining the prayers and religious rites to dealing with the populace, even doing maintaining the temple itself. You go into the modern day Catholics, they actually have people that'll come, or even any religious Christian outlet out there, and you'll see the flock literally going into that church and cleaning it on their free time. They're sacrificing their time, they're sacrificing their day, an hour or two out of their day just to pick a location within that church and cleaning it so that it looks respectable, that it looks clean. Do you not do the same thing to your temple? When you go into your ritual space, do you not maintain it by sweeping up the powders and the it's all over the floor? Do you not pick up the ashes? Do you not pick up, you know, um, and kind of organize in there to help maintain the temple? How about fitness? How about watching what you're eating? Is your body not considered a temple? Are you not taking care of that? So it's just another form of temple. It You're seeing different forms of responsibilities, not just to yourself, but to a church, to a temple, to the deities. Most you're giving up in offering is your time. You're sacrificing your relationships in this world because you've decided I want to pursue something that's greater than me. I want to pursue something that will help me become more than what I am. It doesn't matter if somebody calls you a child. It doesn't matter if somebody calls you an idiot. It doesn't matter if somebody's talking shit about you. It doesn't matter. What matters is you and your journey. Those who truly want to see you succeed will help guide you along the path. They're not going to try to dismantle you by slander or derogatory terms. They're not going to result to childish behavior. No. To answer the questions, you must first go to the most uncomfortable places within yourself. Only then can you learn to deal with those, to grow, to mature, to master yourself. And then you can start mastering the world. And the only way to do that is to meditate, to begin your magical and spiritual journey. Perform alchemical work, both through powders and everything, to working within yourself. Only then can you begin to forge that relationship with the spirits and go, hey, I want to learn from you. Will you help me shed these weaknesses? Shed my life of the unnecessary drama, the distractions. Guide me to the right material and the right path so that I can learn and build a strong foundation. I want to learn the true apotheosis, the true knowledge, not what I think it is or what I want it to be. No, there is no quick, easy button to that. You have to earn every step. That's why respecting both your elders, your teachers, and your guides, and the spirits that you work with, only then can you even begin to reflect on who you are, who you were, and what you are going to be down the road. But it starts with that one thing. Flat out, one thing. Look at yourself. Everything begins with you. With that said, I want to thank the Black Tower for jumping on here with me. It's appreciated. Good to see you again, brother. For those of you who will jump on after this, I want you to remember two things. Whatever you preach, always back it up with multiple sources and always make yourself available to the public. If you don't want to miss another video, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to hit that notification button so you don't miss the videos that I put out, the content. And with that said, I'm out. All right. Have a good day or night, depending on where you are in the world.